The videos are so much better when I have to do them 23 times. So this is our main website, SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com. I'm going to talk about new listings, what you need to know before you head out there and venture out and start signing things at the new home centers or scanning QR codes for access. So if you go to SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com/new, you'll get to this particular page, and then this is where you'll be able to start to search for new listings. These are anything under new construction. 4 primary big home builders out here now: Richmond, Tri Pointe, there's going to be Lennar, and I'm cheating, Toll Brothers. How could I forget Toll Brothers? So that's what's happening now. But let me talk a little bit about the HOA things to look out for, because there are things with new housing that have changed over the years. And right now, I'll get into Homeowners Association and Mello-Roos in just a second, but kind of give you an idea what you're looking for with regard to new housing. They do have a lot of different options that you can get. Open floor plans, of course. A lot of them have tankless water heaters. They just come with it. Depending on the builder, some builders are a little bit more giving in the way that they offer things that aren't actually upgrades with them, but at other builders you're going to run into having to pay for different things. One of the things I always tell my clients, if you can get an extra bedroom, look at the cost of that. That might be worth it. And anything you want to change that's a big construction thing, for example, if you want to put a California room on the outside, which is like an enclosed porch and a balcony, to try to do that later might be it might be more expensive than with the builder, and it might not be right. It might not look good. In addition, if they're offering an additional bedroom and bathroom downstairs versus just maybe a bedroom and a guest bath, but a full bath, see what that costs to put that full bath in there. You might get your money out of it when it comes time to sell, doing those sorts of changes. Interior changes like arched doorways on the inside, again, trying to do that stuff later is very difficult. But you're going to go to the builder center at some point, and they're good, folks. Builder centers are really wonderful. They will tell you about all these awesome upgrades that you can pay for. Be careful with that, please. Additional outlets are great. Maybe that's cool. But if you're going to start upgrading flooring and carpet and paint and doing custom wainscoting and these sorts of things, I would consider that carefully before doing it. And I understand in some cases you can finance the whole thing. They might require more of a deposit going into that, because now the builder's paying for things up front before you give them the money for the house. So they might require that. See what those terms are and see what happens if you change your mind. These are good questions to ask. That's why it's good to have your own rep when you go into these new housing. In addition, you're not being charged for that. To have an agent with you, that's between the agent and the builder. That fee has nothing to do with you, and you don't have to be concerned that you're losing out by having your own real estate agent. But they do want you to have that agent with you the very first time you go visit. So before you embark on new housing, hopefully you're seeing this video up front, and you can give me a call and I can go with you. Or if you have your own agent, again, take them with you to the new housing, and they'll be able to walk you through and ask the right questions. Now out here we have the Richmond American Homes, William Homes, Lennar, and Toll Brothers. They're going to offer different things. Different builders have different incentives. Some of them, if you use their lenders, they will give you a certain credit. Some of them, they don't care. Some of them require you to use their escrow company, which is very typical, and that's not uncommon in the resale world. Sellers get to select services just like that. When you look at these residences, you might look at something that looks just like a single-family home, but it's going to be categorized as a condominium because of the lot footprint being so small. And there are other variables that impact that, but it is less expensive for the builder to put them into the Santa Clarita building and planning, have those documents recorded as a condominium less than a single-family residence. My experience has shown that that doesn't seem to affect resale, at least with the detached condominiums we have that predate a lot of the new housing that's being constructed now. 10, 12, 20 years ago. That doesn't seem to impact that price when they come and they put their hands on it to get an appraisal for new buyers. As far as price per square foot numbers, I see the only differences therein is because of lot size. So you still know what you're getting. Look at it, find out what that particular house is being recorded as, and then you can, of course, do your adjustments. Now, there are specialized communities, senior communities, 55 and over communities. Those, the price of admission is the house, and you're going to have to be vetted to make sure that you are, in fact, of the age that is appropriate for those areas. Now, looking at the different housing types, we talked about the specialized communities, condominiums. There are true condos too, not just the detached type that look like single-family residences. Townhomes typically are multiple story, so that's going to be the differentiation point between that and an actual apartment-style condominium. And of course, single-family homes are completely detached, not touching each other. Townhomes might share a wall or two, might be in a cluster in a particular area, share more than that. All right, so the budgets right now, we're around $602,990 at the beginning as far as sales price for the new housing out here in Santa Clarita. That's going to carry a very the HOA there is going to be over $1,000 a month. Now, having said that, I guess now might be a bad time to talk about homeowners association. It seems like the more expensive residences, the homeowners associations are a little bit more reasonable. $240 a month, $290 a month. These are an $865,000, $850,000 single family residence. This is going to be a 3 plus 3, 1,810 square feet, 850 grand is the price on that one. And that is carrying a $240 a month HOA. The thing to find out is there Mello-Roos tax and assessments? Most of them, yes. Some new home builders pay those off, but that's going to get into your qualification amount and also your monthly payment. So you want to know that going in so you don't get surprised later on. So I would definitely inquire, as I do for my clients, what is the Mello-Roos? What is it going to be paying for, which is typically some kind of infrastructure, fire, schools, street lighting, streets, roadways, those sorts of things. But when is it going to end? Is there an end date for it? Can it be paid off early? Let's say you have an aunt that owes you a lot of money. Maybe can she pay off your Mello-Roos on that particular residence early? Or, these are good questions to ask. Not that you're going to do it, but it is good to at least ask the questions too. Also, with the homeowners association, usually that fee changes when they get finished building everything. When you go into a new housing or new builder community, the closer to the beginning of the build out, at the very beginning when they start breaking ground, the first phase, second phase, those usually carry the most profit at the end than, of course, the final phases, because new home builders typically seem to increase every month in price. That seems to be par for the course, except when the economy starts to tank and then we have issues in the world. I remember back in the 2007 foreclosure crisis back then, when the economy collapsed via housing, via those subprime lenders falling apart. I remember a few months before that, some of the new home builders seemed to disappear. It's as if they knew. It's almost like having the natural disasters and fires and stuff in Southern California, and a few months before, insurance companies leaving the state. Who would have known? But it seems to be case in point. When you want to see how the market's truly doing, look at the new housing construction. There's another slide there on the housing prices right now. Community amenities for the homeowners association. This should make you feel a little bit better. As far as what you're paying for fees, there are swimming pools, spas, clubhouses, fitness centers, walking trails, and so on. And they do have other things that are offered depending on the community. And again, it's cool, and it is nice if you're going to use those facilities. Some people never leave the house. They're glad they have it. It will help for resale, but some people don't really care. Now, as far as what does the homeowners association pay for besides those things, you're going to see in some of these areas, common areas, little play parks and stuff. You're also going to see green belts of plants, and usually probably low water requirement plants, but you're going to see those, and that's going to pay for the landscaping, those folks to come in there and take care of that. Plus, of course, the community amenities, whatever they happen to be. Now, as I talked about the homeowners association, when you're purchasing new housing, it's not negotiable what those fees are, but you need to know how much it can increase, because homeowners association dues can go up. And in a lot of cases, in the older parts of Valencia, there's a certain price point that they can't exceed. All of that is contained in the documentation from the Homeowners Association, known as CC and Rs. And covenants, conditions, and restrictions, you'll see those in there. Also, it's going to talk about pets, and you dog lovers, cat lovers, all that out there. You might find that there are certain places that don't allow certain breeds of dogs, for example. They don't allow so many, a number of animals, maybe a certain size of animal. And they might limit that and not allow that. Also, some homeowners don't allow you to change anything in your yard or plants or in the front without putting in some kind of a plan, an architectural plan, giving that to the homeowners association. They'll look at it and they'll make determinations as to whether or not they're going to allow it or not. They're probably going to want some kind of fancy schematic, probably not you and your crayon on a napkin or me and my crayon on a napkin. They're going to probably want something done professional by some kind of an architect maybe. But you call them and ask, and you can call and contact them prior to even writing an offer on these just to make sure. Because if you have, Sally, who's your 300-pound pit bull, and you love her very much and she's just kind to the world, I don't know if they're going to allow Sally to come into the residence. So I would make sure you make that phone call prior to getting involved. Let's talk about schools as well. You can do some good research online with regard to schools. If they're promising to build stuff in the future, while that's a great, wonderful idea, and hopefully it's a good bet, it might not actually work out, and it might take a lot longer than they're proposing. You'll notice that even your closing date on new residential real estate isn't for sure. They're going to give you an idea, and it's probably going to be pretty close, but it's going to depend on the availability of the people to come check off the different parts of the house from the city, and they're not always available at the time that the builder had hoped. People get sick, people get hurt, people change jobs and quit. So things do change with regard to those closing dates, but for the most part, they're going to be pretty close. I haven't really seen a lot of builders out here that have run into extreme delays. COVID did change a few things back then, but right now everything seems to be moving pretty good. They are still facing some supply issues as far as lumber and housing materials because of COVID, but it's starting to catch up. And I think in the next several months, we're not going to have an issue with any of the building requirements as far as having those houses built by the time frames that they say they're going to be built. Now, looking at these residences, anywhere from 1,500 over 5,000 square feet, and those lot sizes do vary. Energy efficiency, most of these new homes and new construction, there are some standing homes and standing inventory out there. You can find those. I can send those to you as well. And there's also stuff that's coming up in different phases. As I stated before, it's not a bad idea to look at the phase number they're in and then find out how much those phases have increased so far. So let's say there's going to be 14 total phases. Let's say you're looking at phase 7 to purchase. Phase 8 hasn't been released, so it's off the board for you. So phase 7 is what you're looking at, and that's all that's available. So then look at phase 1s through 6 and see how much they've increased, and also, of course, 6 to 7, and see what that number looks like. That kind of gives you a good gauge as to where things might be in the future. At least it gives you a starting point. Now, if the market slows down and you see new housing start not to sell, then we see the resale and market impacted. Then make sure that your mortgage is locked in and you're good with that payment no matter what happens in the world besides, death, divorce, disease, job loss, those sorts of things. Acts of God, it's difficult to stop that. But as long as you know where your payment is, you didn't base your mortgage payment and your affordability for the residence on overtime that might come and might go, you'll probably be okay, even if the market starts to slump a little bit, which we don't see happening. I hope you're well. This has been my effort to talk about new housing. When you're ready, just go to SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com. More than welcome to hit me up there, of course, and my phone number is at the top of the screen. I'm Connor with Honor. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back in the next one. And when you're ready for a new housing tour, let me know. Say, Connor, I'm interested in new housing. We'll find out where your budget is. We'll look at all the homeowners associations. We'll look at all the information, the benefits and the offerings from the new home builder. Also what they're giving as far as credits and discounts and stuff to be able to use their lenders. And most of the time their lenders are very good because they're packaging multiple loans for this particular builder. Usually they're a pretty good deal, but we'll still want to look at all the numbers to make sure you're not overpaying. And with most new builders, my commission isn't part of your process. They're paying me to bring you, to represent you throughout the new home buying experience. Be well. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.